about Warner Sallman's Christ, the Christ. Now, full disclosure, I had a woman in my church in Chicago whose husband was his dentist. There's a connection, but I would always laugh at the painting because I'm like, there's golden, there's golden tan Jesus, spray tan Jesus that's there. And what we're talking about, for those who just go online and Google Warner Sallman, it's undoubtedly a picture that you've seen. This is the Jesus, his high school graduation portrait, as you kind of you mentioned in there, but it conveys imagery and ideas. It actually conceptualizes what we believe to be the ideal of Jesus at that time of what we wanted him to be. And this is where we get these very incorrect notions, sometimes, as you said, precognitively, or just, we don't realize it, we imbibe it. And I remember at my church in New England, we had that painting right in the middle of one of our meeting rooms. It just hung there. And it bothered me because I realized that it was conveying something about who Jesus was that wasn't accurate. So we had a prayer meeting of many of our folks were retired. So we'd have prayer meeting at 1:30 on a Wednesday. And I made it my effort. I would go hide that painting every time I had the meeting. And this one man would scour the church until he found it. And he would say, "Who keeps doing that? It's driving me crazy." And I did it to kind of mess with him, but I was trying to prove a point too. It's just that we take these ideas in and conceptualize this is who Jesus really is. And we would say, of course, no, it's no. But when we really think about what the Bible describes, and you mentioned this in Isaiah, is that there was no majesty. He didn't look great. He wasn't the Saul that was a head and shoulders taller than everybody. Sometimes I think of him as this, kind of a frumpy, middle-aged, balding Middle Eastern man. Kind of like, I mean, I hate to say the term, but like a George Costanza. I mean, that's, people are like, well, that's blasphemy. But I mean, kind of, you're getting the idea is that he looked like a common man.
Right.
That nothing was attracted to them. But why did you feel the need to bring that out as this piece of art that many have held dear? And I know when I was at Vacation Bible School as a kid, I got the little bookmark with Jesus knocking at the door. So serenely. I was like, I can smell the Kool-Aid now in the air when I was a kid at VBS and wanting to go play Red Rover right after we were done. But why did you bring that out?
Yeah, I mean, there were so many things that I could have written about, and for me, I wanted. I mean, I said to some people recently when I was talking to a group of fellows who are being discipled, I said, when I write a book, I'm writing a book because I want to learn what I'm writing about. I want to learn about the thing I'm writing about and researching. And so a lot of what's in this book is me kind of uncovering the things that I know have shaped me and my experience. And I try to universalize it, and I do a lot of research and show it's not just me. But I mean, that was a painting. His artwork was very formative. It was very ever present in my church life, my VBS life, it was around, and it was something that I never really did examine. How an image like that, and of course I love art, and and I love art. I have no opposition to portraying Jesus or making movies about him. I mean, I'd like them to be good. That's another story. But I do think we are allowed and encouraged to use our imaginations to better understand Jesus and the lives that are portrayed in the Bible and those things. But at the same time, we have to understand and be very explicit about their limitations. And so it's not just that the picture is inaccurate, but it contradicts scripture. And yet, even if we understand it as being an imaginative work, that wouldn't be so bad. But I think for many of us, we just kind of assumed, oh, this must be what Jesus looked like, and it's not at all what he looked like. And so what does it do when we say that, when we are willing to present Jesus inaccurately as a white magazine cover boy, like that there's so many wrong values in choosing to misrepresent him that way. And it ties into evangelicalism's long history of white supremacy, that is that it's not universal. I mean, there were evangelicals who worked to abolish the slave trade. Yet at the same time, we can look at the difference between the evangelical founder John Wesley and George Whitefield, who were contemporaries doing much of the same work. And one of them, Wesley, opposed slavery, and the other one, Whitefield, owned slaves. That's a tension that existed in the early 18th century, and it still exists today. And so, but we have many people who just don't want to reckon with this tension that has always existed and still exists. And a painting like that is just kind of one entryway into us saying, how did this come about? And why did it come about? And also, what did it do to us? How did it form and maybe even deform our imagination about not just about Jesus, but about the Christian faith?